Let's skip the soundboard today. It wasn't work. Okay, good. For a second, I thought the capture device wasn't working. You know, I was like, oh no. Let's have this patch. Uh-oh. Let's let everything reload then. Minutes. Looks like everything went well. No issues with the patch. Alright. Let's continue. Seriously, how long is it gonna sit there and just whoosh me around? All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite live stream with Tea and Toast with Ghost. I am your host, Ghost. I talk about everything and anything that comes to mind, and I do my best to keep things okay, not crazy, but I do enjoy a certain amount of talking about many different things. And sometimes the topics I talk about go somewhere, but if you're there and you're watching, please go ahead and drop anything you'd like me to talk about in the comments, or if you have any questions for me about topics I've talked about. In the past, or my video uploads, whichever. Or if you're here for the gaming content, we'll sit here and enjoy that together. Come here, you. I'm getting really tired of you. That's it. Need a knife launcher. Back. Although I gotta admit, some of the order... Well, no, this is Ripper Tech, actually. Some of the Ripper stuff is actually interesting when it works out. I mean, it's definitely better than the Children of the Vault stuff. That stuff overloaded too much. I mean, it worked, don't get me wrong, it worked. But just, you know, no magazine, and you emptied everything you had. It's neat. It was never really my favorite, especially when the heat up was ridiculous. And it's like, holy crap, how can that thing heat up so fast? And they didn't, and most of them didn't even have a cooled, had a vent, didn't even have a vent feature. So I mean, some of it works, but just it's never my cup of tea. But anyway, everybody, I wanted to start today off with talking about what's been going on in the Strait of Hormuz and with Iran. Now, I'm not going to get deep into the history here, starting with Iran-Contra. That's actually something that deserves its own video, folks. Seriously, that deserves its own video. Well, no, I wouldn't actually be able to do my regular live stream format. I'd actually have to show you my screen and be like, and just go through the timeline, multiple different sources, and just be like, you know, here's what happened. And it would just be a live stream of just crazy proportion. So sadly, I'm not going to do that. But what we're gonna talk, what I'm gonna bring up today is what caused is you know what's going on today. And you know, am I a big fan of war? Well, I am fond of ending the enemy. I'm not gonna lie. It tickles me in all the right ways. And for those who be like, "What's this dude? What's this dude's problem? He likes war?" No, but when you've gone to Marine Corps boot camp and the training you get, it leaves a permanent mark on your heart and soul, and it's just, you know. I don't want my enemies to have the ability to hit me. That's the force field down, yes? Onward, into the Lambent. I want my enemies gone. I want my children to grow up in a world where they don't have to worry about possible thermonuclear war. But I digress. I'm not here to talk about the ideologies and what the Marine Corps trains you to do. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about... Oh, I need to go do Mercenary Day. Forgot about that. Alright, we'll finish this mission and then go do that. That's a cute little side quest. But starting off with President Obama. Now, many people have... Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people forgot about this, but during President Obama's second term, Obama sent over $1 billion to Iran. Now, this was said to be done to, what was it? Yes. To, pay you some ransom for some hostages, if memory serves. I could look it up. I will double check that in a bit, just to make sure that I'm being accurate here. Because I don't mind being wrong at all. But I want to make sure that was the public reason. Because I'm not going to start getting into theory territory. I might do it later, but not right now. But we go back in time, close to about 10 years ago now, give or take. It was about that. It was right about that time. And the world and conservative media outlets report, and independent outlets report, that President Barack Hussein Obama sent a bunch of money, sent over $1 billion to Switzerland, had the American dollar swapped out from American dollars to the Swiss currency. And then, by a different plane, it was flown to a tarmac in Iran. I don't remember specific. I don't think it was ever specified which tarmac. But it was sent to a tarmac in Iran. The plane left the money there and took off. Later, it was reported that Iranian government vehicles showed up and took the money. Now, to this day, we're not to my knowledge, the given public record was that the money was given as payment for a hostage release. And, you know, before everyone starts screaming about how much of a communist, how much a traitor Obama is, you know, this has been done before. Just to be clear. We have traded prisoners for prisoners, and we have traded money for prisoners. Even though that's not always the first priority, but it still has been done in the past. So let's be clear about that. You know, I try to keep everything factual. So, with that in mind here, did President Obama do anything illegal? I mean, if Congress approved of the funds being sent, well, technically, then he did nothing wrong. He was executing the will of Congress. Oh, I didn't do my pinned comment. Cute. I'll do it. I'll do it. There's a quasi cutscene coming up. I'll do it then. So, assuming that Congress, because I don't recall if it was ever disclosed if Congress said yay or nay. But the money was dropped in Iran, and it was over $1 billion. So let's make this clear. President Obama maybe executed the will of Congress. There is nothing illegal about this in the United States, to be clear here. If Congress dispensed the funds for this to happen, then it was all legal, and there's nothing that anyone could say, whine, or do about it. We just don't like it. The government did it. And then, over the next couple of months, all of the, wow, it wasn't, they're not tariffs. All of the restrictions and bans on trade and other things from within Iran was lifted by President Obama and under the UN. So, all of a sudden, Iran's economy boomed. Because their trade embargoes were over. And Iran could trade freely. And there wasn't a ban on Iranian goods. But seeing as that Iran's primary export was oil, well, no, still is oil. Let me correct myself there. It still is oil. So all of a sudden, not only did Iran get over $1 billion from the United States, which is weird considering how often you hear the Iranian government screaming, chanting, "Death to America, death to America, death to America." So it was a bit of a head scratcher. Why would President Obama willingly I lost my train of thought there for a second. Yeah, why would President Obama all of a sudden turn and give Iran over $1 billion, lift all of the trade embargoes, and it was a question. There was a speculation of bribes. Even more conspiratorial people called Obama a traitor. And, we couldn't, most people who were rational sat there and said, okay, well, we can't be 100% sure why President Obama did this. There was the hope that we would have a more open dialogue with Iran about peace. That was the hope anyway. That Iran would stop its death to America, start trading oil, and start, being a bit more peaceful. And, that was the hope. That's not what happened. And 3 months later, after that happened, and much speculation from conservative commentators and conservative politicians, we hear the news that Iran found a rich uranium vein, which turned into a uranium mine. And apparently, Iran had been in secret mining uranium for what they claim to be energy sources, as a clean energy source. So top brass at the Pentagon was fairly tight-lipped. No one knew what the generals were thinking or saying. My MOS, I'm not going to specify what my MOS is, but it is related to the I'm not going to say specifically. I can't say too specifically. I need to keep some of my anonymity. But it is heavily related to events like this.
Lichter made sure that any reclamation efforts would be painful. Further salt in the wound.
You are not easily frightened off. A rare virtue on these.
But anyone who had been paying attention to the news got any veteran, unless you were very thoroughly politically indoctrinated on the left, all got concerned. And, you know, there were a few who were concerned about Israel, seeing as that Israel would be our staging point if we ever had to invade in the Middle East. Because that's not how things happen with Iraq. If memory serves, we didn't go in through Israel. We could have, but we didn't. We went. A big portion of forces were actually dropped off by the U.S. Navy. But I digress. That's not the point here. There was a very large concern amongst veterans and even active duty personnel that Iran was going to start building nuclear weapons of mass destruction. And that was the concern. Now, was it actually verifiable that we knew Iran was building nuclear weapons? No, we couldn't do that. But we could confirm that Iran was, however, enriching uranium for purposes of use in a nuclear reactor. Now, for those of you who don't know how... Well, I'm not going to go over the enrichment process. That's not the point. But enriched uranium is not only used as fuel rods in nuclear reactors, it's also used in nuclear weapons. So, there was a great amount of concern.
Ganda, your
So, the question then
I
becomes,
have also eliminated a rather nasty cratch infestation for you.
I feared as much. We kept a sizable flock on hand as livestock, but they must have gotten loose. Tricky rearing, but you haven't lived till you've had Cratch's milk cheese.
I will have to take you at your word on this one, Calder.
but, so there was a lot of concern. Now, so now the question became, was Iran actually doing what it was saying? Was it enriching uranium for energy sources? Which, to a degree, is hard to believe. Like they claimed. Or were they doing it? Or were they doing it to build weapons of mass destruction?
I get blood on my hands, so you don't have to.
And, you know, that was the big question. Were they actually doing what they were saying? Or not?
I used to have one just like this, just without so many weird stains. Shoot, I can get some use. I'll bite it.
And that was the question.
You sent it. You done with this? That'll look no takebacks. Think I'm up. This here's a beauty. Always appreciate you.
Oh, that's overall better. Okay, never mind. And anyone who knew, everyone who's heard about Iran's stated goals sat there and said, I don't buy this. Why would a country that's so rich in oil and a country that is very oil rich all of a sudden want nuclear energy?
Nature can use some oxygen.
And, you know, I can hear some people saying that, well, they're trying to get to a cleaner energy source. You know, that's a nice thought, but, I hate to break this to you, most environmental groups have sat there and said that nuclear energy is dirtier. Is dirtier than petroleum-based energy, because, you know, if you're dealing with petroleum, you know, petroleum with a lot of different things can be cleaned up. The disaster in Chernobyl taught that if you had a major nuclear disaster, that, you know, you would render parts of countries and nations as completely unlivable. for who knows how many hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, the town that was closest to all the towns that were closest to the Chernobyl reactor, all of those places are still abandoned. And you can't, and humans can't live there. I mean, they found a feral cat colony out there from a distance and saw that all of the cats were hairless. Because they were adapting to living with the radiation. And why were they, and why were the cats, and I even think they found some dogs out there, if memory serves, I could be wrong. But they were all hairless. And why were they hairless? Because the way radiation affects DNA, it basically made it so that certain aspects of DNA can't function or they get damaged. So more than likely, those cats will probably be that's probably spawned, you know, not a new hairless cat. It's just that the cat species in that area so yeah, so we can't, so, and humans don't dare go anywhere near Chernobyl unless you have some fairly sophisticated technology. Ooh. Oh, I wish that was better. Well, I'm not sophisticated technology. Very specialized shielded drones. And that can actually go into the area.
That's my office, Wellspring. You should be able to hack the door control.
So, yes. So, now, getting back to Iran here, the question we had to ask is Iran actually intending to be peaceful, or are they intending
Indeed, Wellspring. I am not surprised. It is a bridge to mysterious energies. And you yourself have a mysterious energy. But you have undone a grievous injury to my clave. Meet me at Belton's War with the relic. It's high time the subject of our banishment is reconsidered.
but, you know, it was very much, you know, is Iran actually going to be peaceful? And that was something that was on the minds of not just veterans, but politicians. So it was a bit of a head scratcher. You know, what was the most likely thing? You know, Iran was enriching uranium to build a weapon. But Iran said, nope, that's not what we're doing. It wasn't really much of a head scratcher, but it was what were the odds of each, that Iran was actually being peaceful versus they wanted to, oh, I don't know, wipe New York City off the face of the planet, wipe Los Angeles off the face of the planet, Sacramento. Wipe New Jersey. Wipe Boston off the face of the planet. You know, that was the question. That was the question that some people who were paying attention was worried about. What was the end goal? We couldn't be sure. I mean, there were those who said, "Oh, this could possibly jumpstart World War III." And my thoughts at the time were, okay, this is a powder keg. Now, why was it a powder keg? Because the truth was, is that Iran was more than likely wanting to enrich uranium for the obvious purpose of weaponry. Because if you wanted to be technical, they did not benefit because why would a country that was so rich in oil all of a sudden want nuclear energy? It was a fair question, and there were those who said, and there were plenty of arguments back and forth, but the general feeling was discomfort and unease because there was always that possibility that Iran was attempting to build weapons. And the big problem now was that a sitting president had now just given a lot of money, a lot of resources, to an enemy nation. And to add injury to insult, he had even removed the trade embargoes which prevented Iran from making money to make money to fuel said projects. So it was... So there was a fair amount of concern. Damn it. I hate it when those situations go wrong.
Luckily, learning from mistakes is in my design.
Because the rewards you get from those events sometimes are good, sometimes they suck. And there's one right there. Yes, I might as well go do it real quick. But the question that was on many minds was, are we going to see Iran do exactly what everybody feared they were going to do?
I have just enough bullets for each.
And, you know, that was a question. You know, that was the question. Are we actually going to see that? And that, you know, that was the question. Are we actually going to see some of our greatest fears? And it was hand delivered on a silver platter by our sitting president. Now, I know there will be those who disagree with me on that. But, you know, that was the sentiment that was going around. Now, was it justified? Was it fair? Who's to say for really? But there was fear. And fear, nonetheless, that there was a fair amount of justification for. Because Iran, now I don't know how many people actually know this, but in the tail end of what happened in Afghanistan, you know, we were dealing with the Taliban, yes, but the thing that was never discussed was that a lot of the militias that the U.S. was fighting against, you know, they weren't some of them, yes, a lot of them were Taliban-backed militias. That's true. But the thing that wasn't discussed was the fact that a lot more of what we were fighting against was Iranian-backed militias.
Corners have explosions everywhere.
So, you know, the question was, Well, that's an interesting thing. Did the president just in an act of diplomacy, did he just hand an enemy and a state sponsor of terrorism the keys to basically start World War III? Now, was that an accurate assessment? Who knows? Who knows, to be bluntly honest here. But the one thing that was for sure was that a lot of military veterans who had fought in Afghanistan, who had fought in Iraq, they were all angry. Why would a sitting president go and do this? Because doing something like that could have easily destabilized the region. It didn't make any sense. Unless you were the small group of people who sat there and said, Obama's a traitor. And he's he's empowering our enemies to destroy us when they have the capability and start World War III. That was this group's sentiment. Now, was it true? We don't know. Because, frankly, we'll never know, because high-level politics and the fact that the U.S. government tends to keep certain things secret from the people.
I am trying to drive!
Now, we could sit here and say that's unjustifiable, that the U.S. government shouldn't be keeping secrets, blah, 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 blah. But, who's to say this was actually what the U.S. government wanted? I mean, if you listen to other theorists out there, this was the product of the New World Order. And the fact that they wanted to destroy the United States because the United States was its greatest weakness, was the greatest, not threat, what's the word I'm looking for here? The United States is the greatest hindrance to the goals of the New World Order. And so many theories abound that we will probably never know what's true and what's not true until So seeing as that we're not jumping into theory zone yet, at least not yet anyway, we have to go off the assumption that Obama did what he thought was right, and if Congress approved of this, then we have to hope that the U.S. government did this in the best interests of the people. I mean, peace is better than war, to be bluntly honest with everybody. So, but, you know, but that's also giving the benefit of the doubt that that's what President Obama was actually doing. And depending upon who you ask, yes, that's what he did. Less charitable voices will say no. So, we'll never be 100% sure why a sitting president did this or why a sitting president did that. We will never really be able to have that clear-cut answer, sadly. But President Obama, you know, the key point was that President Obama put the United States in a very precarious situation, because if Iran couldn't attack the U.S., it would attack Israel. Muslims and Jewish people will forever be at war with each other because of for religious reasons. So, you know, you don't want to hear what my opinion is, because frankly, I'm sick of hearing about what goes on in Israel. And no, this isn't anti-Semitism. You know, I could sit here and pull out my Eric Cartman voice and start saying a bunch of offensive crap. But sadly, if Israel wants, my perspective is this: if Israel wants to be on the world stage, it needs to be able to take care of itself and not have the U.S. dig it out of every bad situation it gets in. If you're going to be a nation, then you have to be able to fight your own battles. You don't see Russia, what's the word? You don't see Russia running to China and Iran begging for help with the war in Ukraine. No, Russia is doing that itself. So I do want to say that, you know, this is not anti-Israel. This is very much, if Israel wants to be its own nation, it needs to learn to stand on its own 2 feet. But that's my 2 cents there when it comes to Israel. I'm pretty sure that eventually somebody will watch this and accuse me of anti-Semitism. I don't care much to be frank here, I just really don't care. You know, I can understand why there is sympathy for the Jewish people, which is nice. But it's just, why is everything our problem? You know, it's really quite simple. Why is every world issue the United States problem? When it shouldn't be. And, you know, that's kind of where I want to just leave things off with there. But, you know, again, Iran is not just Israel's enemy, they are also our enemy. So, my thing here is that, okay, I can sit here and agree that this is a problem and we need to deal with it.
You up in no time. That'll look mighty fine on my. I used to have. You done with this? You sure? No takebacks. Unless you really wanna, I guess. This here's a. You want this back? You just let me know. I'll bite it. Shoot, I can get some use out of this yet. You think I'm honest? I'll bite. You done? You want? Shit. No.
Yes,
no
yes, yes. No
takebacks.
take
No.
backsies.
You done with this? You want this back? That'll look. Thanks for stopping by.
But, you know, the question that we have to ask ourselves is Iran going to act in good faith? And given Iran's reputation, the likely answer is no. So, what happens? President Obama serves his 2 terms and gets out of the White House. And then we have President Trump coming in and taking office. Now, President Trump, upon entering office, immediately goes
And you have secured a crowd.
It's Calder with an Outlander.
Augurs, we're a people of rule and ritual. Even setting foot in this town is a flagrant violation of the terms of my exile. Look at him squirm.
and
Oh,
President
our
Trump
purposes are grander than
begins
provoking the rabble.
by undoing as much as he can from what President Obama did.
People of the mountain. Come, Wellspring. You stand in Belton's Boar.
And
Gathering all
he
of the
goes
waves,
through,
seeking
undoes
power
it,
for my people.
gets a new Supreme Court justice appoints a new Supreme
Almost
Court
certainly
justice,
not.
and we don't
Bringing
really
you
hear
here
a lot
is
about
a
Iran.
offense. But what will they do? Exile me twice?
And
Such dim lights, such dim faces. This place was once a grand hall.
you know,
much has
could we
changed
take
in
the
the
adage,
years
no
since-
news is good news?
The remaining
Maybe.
slave leaders are not cruel, only cowardly. They claim they keep the augurs from obliteration, but fear of Lictor is all that guides them.
Why return?
So we don't hear a lot on U.S. national news.
Strike Lictor
And
down,
then COVID-19
only
hits.
allies we can get.
And the world basically shuts down. I like Calder. Just so everybody here knows, I'd really like the Calder's character. He's an old kooky guy, but he is hilarious and he's...
On to you two, Stellan.
I am simply skipping the pleasantries. So I will skip over the fact that we exiled you. Skip over the fact that there is an Outlander in our council chamber and simply pronounce your sentence, which is death!
You aren't even the least bit curious why we are here? Arden.
I'll hear the Outlander out, but yes.
Death for you, absolutely.
I am just here to kill Vion Lictor.
His eyes are everywhere. Not enough to risk your own lives. You have to risk ours too.
What could possibly be worth coming here, Calder?
Show them, Wellspring.
Oh, I need to do my pinned comment.
I guess we're hearing you out.
The lost relic. How did you get it back? It was this outlander, my wellspring of luck, who retrieved it from the desecrated halls of my clave home.
Then by tradition, it is you who must return it to its rightful place, Outlander. There. The people of the mountain will want to see this.
Do the honors, Wellspring. Place the relic.
Ah.
It's the Outlander.
They brought back the relic.
With this gift returned to its rightful place, I demand, I humbly request that my penance be considered complete. You expect?
Granted.
Amazing. We're all dead.
But you, Calder, are not returning to the Council. We welcome your clave back into our halls. They have been punished long enough for your transgressions.
So be it. My first act is to accept the Outlander into my clave.
Are you certain that is a bet you want to make?
Oh, it's not like you have to pay dues. Just run with it, so they stop talking about killing you.
Very well. I am now an augur.
Then welcome home, Vault Hunter.
I shouldn't have done the two pleases, but oh well. It's there. Okay. Now, where was I? Wait, where's Calder? There he is.
Ah, Wellspring. We must talk next steps.
So
I am
from
warned to be
there,
back in
we
my
didn't
halls.
hear a lot.
Solder sparks and drill screams give me
But
hope
we did
I've not had
hear,
in years.
and then I think
But
right
let us
around...
discuss this voice you heard when you retrieved the relic. Most curious
I mean, we did. I mean, if you were paying close enough attention, you did hear that Israel did launch a strike on the uranium mine, if memory serves correctly.
Only the mountain knows.
Very curious. It felt like a warning. The voice said something about iridium and told me to find the siren. With a name like Vile Victor, one assumes his intentions are not sweet.
So it
About iridium,
so
I
the
could
next
offer little
so it was like, okay, Israel's is doing something. The U.S. isn't focused on starting new wars per the agenda of the sitting
help
president.
get you the command bolt you desire. Vigilance, Wellspring. Some time ago, a mysterious siren appeared in the icy reaches, searching for a lost friend. Most newcomers swiftly learn to fear Vile Lictor's dark
And
tendrils.
President
This one
Trump
seemed
goes
eager to
out
squash
and
them.
just attempting to make peace
Perhaps this
treaty after
vile
peace
cat is
treaty
the one the
after
sacred
peace
relic told
treaty,
you to find. Seek her to the
which
far east,
makes
but
some people happy
under
and makes other
laws.
people nervous. Take your pick on how that would have made you feel at the time. But from there, we don't really hear a lot about Iran. We don't really hear a lot about Iran. And, you know, it's just assumed that whatever's going in Iran, either somebody else is dealing with it, who knows? Maybe the Iranians have decided to just not cause problems. You know, who knows? Now, I do know that foreign press, you know, not American press, but
Here, we have a demon to hunt. Well, I...
reported that that Israel was often talking about how Iran wanted to nuke they wouldn't nuke Jerusalem. There's holy sites for
And we're off. Be off with you then, I don't mind.
the Muslims in Jerusalem. So they're not going to make it impossible for any sort of pilgrim to go to Jerusalem. But Israel was constantly talking about how that Iran was making threats to Israel. They were making threats to the United States, and none of this was but oh ow. I hit my toe.
I wish more folks understood our priorities.
But Israel was constantly having their national news network saying Iran is building weapons. Did I say Iran or Israel? But Israel's news network was constantly saying that Iran was building WMDs. And that Israel was a target, and so was the United States. Now, I don't know what the State Department or the DoD thought of this, but anyone who pays attention to international affairs who would be hearing this should be concerning. Now, did we have any measurable threat credibilities? I mean, intelligence sources kept an eye on that. Would have kept a very close eye. Legend of the Stone Demon. Bounty pack. I'm gonna have to get that in a bit. Not right now. Oh. Why is my chat box? Oh, I need to pull my chat box up so we can be seen. There we go. But, you know, it was very much it wasn't really clear what was going on. So, intelligence assets kept an eye on Iran, and from what I understand, the reports were concerning to say the least. So it was, okay, well, what do we do now? The sitting president's agenda is peace, and he's trying to negotiate peace in the region. And we can't just sit here and tell the president no. So maybe if he can get peace in the region, maybe this will defuse the whole situation. And then President Trump lost the next election. And then President Biden took over, and the U.S. basically started doing nothing. And there was a lot of concern that that President Biden would actually kick off World War III through his inaction. Because President Trump wasn't sitting there talking about bombing and doing other things. I know President Trump did fire a couple of missiles because of what happened, I believe it was in Libya. I'm trying to remember where that was specifically. But President Trump wasn't interested in starting new wars to keep the war economy going. In fact, he was against it. Now, under President Biden, again, we didn't hear a lot, but a lot of the...
Looks like Screw has set up some propaganda towers. Feel free to take those down, Outlander.
The timekeeper loves you.
So the question then became, did President Biden just stop doing everything that President Trump was doing? Which essentially he did. And he even started reversing a bunch of the decisions that President Trump did. And a lot of charitable voices not less uncharitable voices to President Biden all sat there and said that what President Biden was doing was putting the U.S. in danger.
Real gamblers never quit.
Because he basically let our enemies run free. And I believe it was during President Biden's...
There's the power conduit. Maybe you can take it offline.
Your turn, Echo 4.
time in office that what was it? That Iran started mining the Strait of Hormuz.
Damn, this guy's crafty. Hacking the power conduit only doubled security on the door.
Psych! I won't give you the satisfaction of meeting me face to face. Destroy the Vault Hunter!
I figured you were scared.
So, you know, it kind of was like, okay, well, so now we have a president who was trying to make peace, and now we've gone to a president who really doesn't really seem to care about anything going on internationally. Instead, we have a president who only really seems to care about undoing everything that the last president had done. You know, that's normal in terms of different political ideation, which is a bit normal for the U.S. You have one president do this, and you have another president doing that. That's fairly normal. But the way that everything...
Maybe you can hack the security system or something. I saw power spikes as those locks slammed home. I bet they're from the generators powering the locks. Could you short them out somehow?
I need copper wire for that, but I am feeling lucky. These Mercury lights should work.
So, we hear that Iran starts mining the Strait of Hormuz. You know, that's the strait of water right by Iran, where major shipping, and you know, in that region, that's a major shipping route.
Decorations as destruction. Clever. I like it.
And it's reported that Iran is attacking, or, well, no, not attacking, but harassing.
Consider Kairos a curse, but not I. Back on Hieronymus, my weak birth daddy gave me every trinket I desired, but that wasn't enough. I wanted the world.
Ships, transport ships in the region that are not Iranian and not friendly to Iran. So eventually Iran starts mining the Strait of Hormuz, because if you're having warships patrol the Strait of Hormuz, it's not going to be too terribly long before you have to start dealing with U.S. warships. And, you know, there's also the fact that running warships like that gets expensive. The oil, paying the crew, feeding the crew, that gets expensive. So instead of keep burning money and burning money and burning money, Iran came up with a solution. They started planting sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz and pulled back their ships. Now, Iran knew where the mines were. Did cargo ships? No. Did any non-friendly Iranian ships? No.
Not allow you to deprive me of my gift. Daddy says I'm allowed to kill you, and Daddy's rule is law.
For both our sakes, please stop saying daddy.
That did it! Locking mechanisms are shorted out. If you hack the power conduit again, you should get in.
Let's roll the dice again, Echo.
A present. So, multiple ships started hitting mines. Now, thankfully, to my knowledge, none of the ships sank. But many ships started getting damaged. But just before President Biden left office,
Mercenary dead presents? And so many.
They're mine. All presents belong to me.
it was reported that 2 U.S. Navy warships hit the mines in the Strait of Hormuz. I believe one was a cruiser, and a frigate.
I have set the conveyor belts
Both
up.
hit into mines on the Strait of Hormuz. And
How colorful.
You're spreading cheer. That's the exact opposite of what I want.
so you have multiple U.S. and non-U.S. companies complaining
Serenade you with the sweet sounds of my favorite holiday. Joy to the world, the lighting changed.
Claptrap.
Trapped is your fave. You'll love it when I sing. It is your favorite thing. Claptrap will never die.
Hell yeah!
And then the next presidential election cycle came around with nothing being done. I could be wrong about the timeline, but I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% accurate here. And then the next election cycle comes around, and President Trump is now president-elect. And Obama is to leave the White House. I mean, not Obama. I mean, that's what a lot of people were saying, was that Obama got his third term through Joe Biden. I mean, if you wanted to be technical, Obama can't run for president again, but he could be somebody's vice president if he really wanted to. But, you know, that's just the thought anyway. But Obama, well, not Obama, Biden leaves office. And again, President Trump comes in and everything is a mess. The economy is doing worse. multiple amounts of hostility. And there's a lot of open hostility towards the U.S. And then, you know, there's also the Ukraine conflict, the Ukraine conflict. So there's a lot of, And, you know, and President Trump walks into a mess, and it's like, well, what does he do? President Trump starts doing everything in his power to stop what's going on. But there's but now we have a problem. According to more than likely classified intel, Iran has been enriching uranium, but they haven't been doing it for the peaceful purposes that they've claimed. And who knows where we got this intel from. Intel starts reporting that Iran isn't building reactors. Iran is building something else. Take a guess of what that is. I'm not going to hold my breath. So now we have a really big problem. So now President Trump, who just came back into office, and it's like, wow, what a mess. So now we have now President Trump has a really big issue. Does he do something about the mines in the Strait of Hormuz, or does he just leave it be? Ultimately, what Iran's doing is actually being pretty damaging to the world economy. There were those, now I can hear that there are those who say that's not true. Well, I hate to break it to you. Ships that can't make it through the Strait of Hormuz that are delivering oil and whatever else, and, you know, mind you, the Strait of Hormuz is how we get things from China and Japan. I mean, it's not the main way, but it is one of the routes that is used. So, what do we do? If Iran keeps acting this hostile to every nation that is U.S. friendly or at least U.S. neutral, and it and Iran keeps this up, well, it's going to damage the whole, it's going to lead to irreparable damage, not only to the US economy, but also to the world's economy.
I did some research, Rush. Your friend...
Mm.
Back on Protea think you're dead! And they all had ugly babies! Father dead! Mother missing for years! You'll have no one!
Please kill this guy.
Oh, I will.
So, President Trump, more than likely believing the intel reports, that Iran is more than likely planning getting ready, is building a nuclear device to either have it secretly shipped to the US, a couple bribes here, a couple bribes there, or if they could get an old ICBM model from, oh, Russia or China, they can fire it off like that. Because, you know, unlike China and Russia, they don't want the world to end. Russia and China don't want to see the world end. Well, at least the world that we know end. And why do they not want to see it end? Well, and, you know, you could sit here and say, well, why don't they want to do that? Well, if you nuke most of the world, world on the planet, most of the landmass on the planet, you know, the planet's going to more or less become uninhabitable. I mean, this is part of the reason why Albert Einstein was quoted saying, after the bombs drop, the next war will be fought with sticks. Because we won't have the technology to use everything. And that's always been the biggest fear in the use of nuclear weapons. That human life will basically be brought to its knees and could theoretically extinct most of the life on the planet. So, seeing as that China, at the very least, wants to rule the world, a dead world is not a world you can rule. And assuming that in the resulting fallout, plus initial enough, and then plus all the lives that would be lost within 10 years, the United States would not be a living, thriving planet. It would be a world that is mostly dead. So, because the world is mostly dead, any person who has hopes of world domination, ruling over a planet of the dead, does not sound appeasable to anyone unless said person is a certified socio and psychopath who doesn't care whether who lives or dies, sadly. So, in turn, you know, it's not in China or Russia's interest to start dropping bombs.
My gut says anything worth messing with will be in that server room. It's just past that door.
It is locked, Rush. Sorry to say.
Ah, crap. Schematics show a duct. Look for a vent to crawl through.
However, Iran's belief, if you will, here, the world is better if the world is not under the submission of a law. If the world is not ruled by the caliphate,
Looks like you can reach the server room by cutting through cooling.
then the world is not worth, then the world isn't worth it. Now, I know those who will sit, now I know I can hear those who say that's not, you know, that's not what Muslims believe. You know, I know about the pillars, and I know about the submission to a law. You know, if you truly do believe in God that way, okay, that's nice for you. I don't view God, and I do not view God that way. Yes, I know, I'm a heretic. Learn to love it, baby. But you know, yes, I'm a heretic in the Muslim faith. I don't really care much. Because in their faith, I should be castrated into a eunuch.
Another fight goes my way.
And it should be done by somebody else. Not them. Because castrating somebody in Islam is a big no-no. But there are plenty of these people who believe in Sharia.
Luck is on my side.
Wait, I got an idea. What's Mercenary Day without a little snow? You'll need to get into the control room.
And that they believe in what Sharia should do. So that's their choice to believe that. Again, I don't. But Iran has made it very clear. They believe in the mission. So, hearing all these reports, so now we have to ask the question. if Iran had the chance, given the opportunity, would Iran actually do it? And given the evidence, given Iran's treatment of infidels, sadly, I wouldn't be the only one to reach the conclusion that yes, they would. So this leaves a bit of a conundrum, if you will. Do we do nothing? Or do we do something? Oh, nope, I need to be in this room. Okay. Ultimately, President Trump decided to launch Operation Epic Fury. And we are now dealing with the results of that. Am I thrilled? I'm not. But in the end, the question here is not that this happened. The question is
Just like so. Got it to beat. A little recoil never hurt anyone.
so.
Bringing cheer to yours and mine. There are no free songs about snow, so instead.
So sadly, so in the end, this whole situation has been caused by whatever President Obama was trying to do. Whether he was actually trying to make peace, or whatever it said he was trying to do at the very least. We don't know. All we can say for some measure of a surety is that Obama was doing what he thought should happen. That's all we can really say for sure.
Wonder what that jackass has on his computer.
Are you using my computer? Do not look in the folder marked taxes!
So many
Taxes?
files of Rush's family, particularly his father. Rush would value this.
Uh-oh, sounds like embezzlement.
Tons of fun. Both are
Just try to get close, Sin.
So, if you want to be really technical about this situation, this is one president's foreign policy mess that another one is cleaning up 8 years later. And I know there will be those who say I'm full of it, but sadly, I remember when President Obama was president. And I can also remember a lot of the military personnel who did not like him. And this was actually something that sadly the people who didn't like President Obama were worried about. That he was going to do stuff that would lead to something by the time he left office would not be his problem. So, you know, we can sit here and speculate all we want, but all we really know for sure is that President Obama's end result with what he did with Iran led to this moment. Well, not this moment. I guess you could call it this situation. And many people, if you're really anti-war, you should be really and truly upset by this. Because this situation is partially due to a president and a Congress that should not have given money to a foreign enemy and then basically took off.
As that family gives you very many gifts. I got more than one scar from people like this screw. Thinks the world owes him something. My dad used to say, well, hell, of all days I tried not to think about losing him, but sorry. Go do what you do best.
So, this is the end result of politics doing what politics think they do is best. Maybe for world peace, maybe for their pocketbook, who knows? But this is the end result of politicians not being checked by the citizenry of this country. And I know there will be those who will tell me I'm spouting nonsense. Look, I was active duty when President Obama was president. I was not impressed by his leadership, and the only ones who really approved of him were those who shared his political views or those who approved of his political views. And, you know, so there you go. This is why we're currently having issue with Iran right now. So if you want to smile, if you want to blame anybody, I mean, sure, you can sit here and say the sitting president shouldn't have done this. Oh, shoot. But how about we lay the blame at the feet of the person who helped cause all this well, people. Because Obama didn't just do all this, and President Obama didn't just do all this himself. And I don't remember specifically if Congress approved the funds, but if you really have to blame anybody for this, blame Congress at the time.
Would you like to know what Daddy's greatest gift to me was? A data scraper. Only I can pierce the cosmos and access the galactic echo net. And I've seen your personnel file. Oh yes, a gambling robot turned vault hunter. How amusing. Well, guess what?
Today, my luck runs out. Many people have said this. Shot many bodies.
So if you truly want to blame anybody for this whole mess, blame the Congress that approved the money for this. And blame the president that wouldn't just tell Congress no. Lay the blame at the feet of those who helped cause this. Don't cry. Don't sit there and cry about the janitor cleaning up the mess. Because that's sadly what this is right now. President Trump has to be the janitor to clean up a mess that President Obama started. President Biden did nothing to help. And now he's cleaning up the mess, whether he wants to or not. Or do we want to risk how much loss of life in possibly New York, Boston, San Francisco, maybe Austin, Texas, if possible? New Jersey. I'm not saying this to scare people. I'm saying this to be realistic. What price are you willing to pay? Do you want to pay for inaction? Seriously, how many millions? How many lives do people want to pay just for the illusion of peace instead of peace through strength. I mean, I invite you guys to sit here and give me a better solution and actually debate me on this. Because, to be bluntly honest, it's not going...
Nothing beats the classics.
But I invite anybody to start commenting what a proper solution to this mess should be. I will invite anybody to give me their 2 cents. To be bluntly honest here with everybody.
You sanitized this, right? I'm shoot. You done with this?
Alright, before this boss battle, I'm gonna use the restroom, so I'll be right back. Why did I zoom into that? But I'm gonna stretch my legs, use the bathroom a quick second. I'll be right back, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Nature calls, and I need to stretch my legs. It's like I said, I don't... sit on my butt all day, every day. And...
Can you see me? Can you see what a good boy I am? Today, I give you the
so
greatest
my legs
gift of
get...
all, the dead Vault Hunter!
Nobody loves him. Yeah, no. So I have to stretch my legs because I'm far more used to just constantly moving or constantly being on my feet. But if anyone wants to ask me any questions about my my thoughts about Iran on the situation that's going on, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer. I'll do my best to answer questions that I know I can answer, and not just speculate.
Canansi speaks. The time wasters are here.
Oh, singularity.
I do not bluff. I bluff.
Ooh, he dropped a legendary. Nice. Is my mic still off? Nope. I've just been so busy focused on this boss fight, I haven't been flapping my trap.
Good luck dodging this. I needed a backup generator. I will make this quick, Sniff.
Heck. Let's see what this thing is. Alright, let's give it a whirl. Definitely deals more damage. Uh-oh. Oh good, that singularity looked in my favor.
I always make time for the little things.
Oh, that one's on my side. Uh-oh. This guy's gifts are annoying as back.
Barely a stand-up. Expect the unexpected. Oftentimes people kept your water key. So, you were on top.
Oh, he dropped 2 legendary. Disappointing. Oh, heck yeah. Taking that one. Money. Money. Money, 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 money. Money. Okay. Seriously? This is this guy's private place? It's nice. I'm not gonna lie.
not touch a mysterious switch. But
Press the
I
button.
am feeling lucky.
Press the button. Press the button. Press the button. Press the button. Press the button.
Hey, good job saving Mercenary Day. Sorry I'm not more cheerful company. That guy got under my skin.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Well, the gifts we gave out killed people. We used up the decorations, and the one thing I wanted to forget about today was shoved in my face.
First, your skin looks terrific. Second, I found you something. If this photo is what I think, you definitely grew up.
Dad? Oh, wow. It's been so long. I'd almost forgotten his face. I don't know what to say. I can't begin to repay you for this.
It is your lucky day. I am feeling generous.
I've spent so much time today trying to not think about losing him, but I think ignoring it only makes it worse. Plus, I still got people like you around. Different kind of family, but it still counts. Thanks, Vault Hunter. And happy Mercenary Day.
Shiny specialization went up. No, I'm not redoing that fight. Too bad I can't just... Too bad I can't plug Claptrap full of bullets. That'd be nice. He's the most annoying character in the whole damn game. Oh. Well, let's... Seeing as that I have missions to do. Okay. Track that one. And seeing as that we need to head back north anyway. Where is... It's not the right plan. Oh, that's the demon's domain. The Bones of Sanction. I can fast travel to the Bones of Sanction. Hey. Ah, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so where's my... Over here. Oh, it's above me, of course it is. I want my favorite shotgun.
Oh, a fellow art lover. I need your help.
Why?
I am an artist. And yet, this chair, my masterpiece.
Wow.
I have lost the assembly instructions.
Creativity is divine. It is not printed like instructions.
Who are you to say what is or is not art? My works recontextualize craftsmen like furniture into aesthetic curiosity, and for this
I require a shrubbery. Let's put that away. That was useful. Ooh. I need to upgrade some of my stuff, seriously. It's better than nothing.
I may have thrown them away. Search the trash.
Seriously? Okay. Ooh. Piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. But for anyone who wants to scream that President Trump started this war, he didn't. He actually is cleaning up the mess that former presidents left behind for him. So do what you will with that information. But what happens when you actually have appropriate weaponry? Boss fights get easy fast.
Just what I was looking for.
But yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's one topic I was going to talk about. I mean, if anyone has a topic they want my 2 cents on, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Money. Fuel economy. That thing doesn't. This thing does. Is this a? Okay, well, this is interesting. But, yeah, I mean, if anyone has a topic they want me to talk about now, I mean, let's see, what other topics did I have in mind? I'm not gonna bring up Nintendo. There's not a lot of point in that. I mean, I could talk about how the U.S. needs to take a leaf out of Japan's book.
If you want this view, sit that'll look mighty fine on my shelf. This here's a beauty. Thanks for stopping by.
When it comes to bringing in foreign nationals. Because I'm not opposed to immigration. What I am opposed to, however, is bringing in people who want to take over your nation. That's what I'm opposed to. And they don't want to become part of your nation, they just want to take over. But of course, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be called a hated bigot and stuff. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to be called.
This place is very remote.
So I don't see a lot of point in talking about that. Well, at least not right now.
Should I hear news of a missing friend? Those pigs may be inhospitable, but they are ideal for one seeking solitude. Friend and foe alike get caught in the cracks.
Please. This isn't the right place to use that. Sadly, I wish I could sadly, I wish I had the max level version of this thing. It's deadly. Yes, 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 we all know. Don't hate the player, hate the game, because only the player gets good at the game. But then again, I also don't approve of guys who treat relationships like games.
That ship had an even rougher landing than mine. That's what I was looking for.
Ooh, shield overcharge. Ooh, Becky.
Hello? Is there a cat lady? Or anybody?
Cat lady. Whenever I hear cat lady, I think of the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons. And it's almost ironic. She was once the most successful lawyer in Springfield. And now she's the craziest old lady you've ever met. Almost makes you feel bad for wasting that law degree.
Oh, a little cat. Do you accept screeches?
Uh-oh. Someone's got me.
You looking for a fight?
Siren from the last game.
Aw, could have been fun. But Hermes likes you. So, welcome to Sanctuary. What's left of it?
Sad, really. That ship was half decent.
I'm Amara, and
Wasn't a
before you ask
dreadnought, but it definitely was a nice ship.
Galaxy-saving hero, dispenser of justice.
and currently a glorified priest.
Come, I'll show you the bridge.
I am Cash. Defiant Calder sent me.
Sorry about the cold welcome. I've been a little cooped up.
Okay, crazy
Normally,
cat
I won't
lady.
take offense, but when you do it, it is magical.
It's my siren powers. But no one knows exactly how they work.
Can you speak directly into the minds of others too? I have got to learn how to do that.
Wait, have you heard a woman speaking in your mind?
Indeed, she compared me to find the siren.
By the... She sent you to me. I was right. Lilith is here.
Lilith? Is that who you have been searching for?
That's right. She's a siren too. The strongest one I've ever seen. You know Elpis, the so-called invader moon? She was the one who brought it here. And then, she vanished. We followed the moon to Kairos looking for her, but the Order shot us down. I've been here ever since. Cat-sitting. The augurs warned me that the Timekeeper would see me as a prize, so I've had to keep a low profile. Honestly, you're the first lead I've had in months. Did Lilith tell you anything else?
She said Iridium is the key. Like a warning.
Iridium, huh? Jet fuel for sirens. Uncommon on Kairos. But it sometimes rains down from Elpis. In fact, there was a huge moonfall recently. Not far from here. Let's check it out. Meet me there. Lilith's orders.
Ooh. 2 rift events. my rift. Fine, let's do the rift events. Get rifty. No, it's yeah, get swifty.
As useful as Violator is at dominating the populace, I think you could do better. Comparing body counts, you're catching up to him after a scant few days on Kairos. Just imagine what I could have done with your hands. Just imagine what I still might.
Today, your run comes to an end.
Oh, this bucket of bolts. Yeah, pain sucks. Get used to it. When you have the right weapons, and it makes all the difference. Let's see. Ew.
You did not let me yell straw!
I'm assuming I'm looking for a cave over here.
Nothing beats the classic. Canancy speaks. Should have watched the hand.
Yeah, it's in this one. Ugh. So, I mean, does anyone have a topic? Oh, Unperson 101, thank you for jumping on the stream. Do you have any questions or anything you'd want to ask? Looks like it's up there. there's one way to get to that, but that's the other. You have to go around. Oh, I went the completely wrong way. But I don't think I can go back across. Nope. I have to find another way around. Who puts a seer on a catch? They're basically like a giant winged bat. Wouldn't call these things exactly appetites. I mean, there's barely any meat. Yeah. Hey, go away. Then I guess. Wait, where's the moonfall site? Over there. I want to find the moonfall site, or do I want to keep jumping through these mountain passes? I guess let's go up this way and see if I can find one. Don't know if I'm gonna find it going this way, but let's see. Because I know it's up there, but oh, doy. There we go.
Badass or not, I will come at her.
Okay, why is it? There's no point in taking me this way when I can't get up that way. Forget about it.
Galda, your siren is one fierce feline, as advertised. We are now tracking down some iridium together.
Excellent, Wellspring. See if you can learn why Vile Lictor desires it. And if you get the chance, whack him in the shins for me.
Just scratch the serial number up, and if you got any more like this, you know where to find me. I'll miss our little chat.
Scratch the serial number off. Damn. Hey, who hit me with that corrosive? Oh, you.
This is the spot. Where is Amara?
Oh, there she is.
Right here.
You know how to leave an impression.
A wall is just a door you haven't punched open yet. Come, let's investigate this moonfall.
What do you think we will find here?
No clue. But if I'm right and Lilith is guiding us to this iridium, we'll get our answers. And chances are they'll be pretty weird.
Pretty weird, she says. That makes sense.
Looks like the Order is after this iridium too. Let's crush this guy.
You know, I wish we actually had this game had a version of a trench room like this. That'd be fun to have.
Don't hit the player!
Oh, where's the last order force? We found a glitch, folks. Look at that. We found a glitch.
They go down so quickly. Come, Vault Hunter, over the gap. Hit me, you ugly goons! It feels good to be in the fight again.
You really were hooked up here, huh?
This time it is not hide. I'm ready for proper play. spent too many months meditating. Trying to meditate.
Tate, failing to
Failing.
meditate.
Honestly, if I didn't have Hermes, you might have found me talking to snowmen.
Quite dedicated to finding Lilith.
I thought I was the strongest siren in the universe. I was wrong. I need her to teach me. Plus, she did save my life and all of Pandora, so I guess I owe her one as well. Blocked. But I can feel the iridium just beyond.
Can you not punch away the blockage?
I may have used up too much juice on the first one. But there's some iridium right here. Might be the pick-me-up I need. Woo! Ah, the raw stuff still hits.
I see. Iridium is for you what an electric shock might be for me.
Come on, let's see what this vile Lictor bastard is up to.
Looks like a mining op.
Victor has quite the operation going here. What does he want?
Same thing any of these mechs. That generator powers the mining laser. Let's clear out these guards so we can destroy it properly. We should slow down this operation. Take out these mining guards.
Hope the timekeeper kept your warranty. Time for a grenade? Go now! Happy Detonation Day!
Ah. What should be my next topic? I can't decide.
You can never control chaos!
Actually, now that I thought about it, let's talk about that Netflix Manosphere documentary. Because, Fresh Fit, Clavicular, Sneeko, the Tate brothers, these guys are the part of the Manosphere that doesn't really do anything else besides, money grab.
What I was looking for.
Lictor needs better guards.
I'm pretty sure there'd be those who disagree with me and those who agree with me.
Come. Let's shut down this mining laser. That should let us reach the ledge.
But, you know, the thing that...
There. You do the rest. Shoot the core.
The generator has been destroyed.
See? He was already using the raw iridium to power the mining laser. If he starts refining the stuff...
We're in trouble. This was once a sacred temple, till the moonfall damaged it. I hope to repair it, but now vile Lictor strips it bare for his dark ends. There is no...
But, you know, the big problem with that movie is that, in my opinion, the documentary guy... He interviewed the, well, not the worst possible people. He interviewed how do I want to say this? I want to say this the right way. I'm trying to think of how to say this the right way. He interviewed the most... What?
Part of our people's tradition that he will not debase. Take the temple back and send a shiver up his tentacles.
He interviewed the most annoying, disreputable voices of the Manosphere.
Merely? I am not merely anything. So jot that down.
Of course, the Vault Hunter again. I love you, my God. You're like me, drawn to power. This iridium, this...
And the reason why I say he interviewed the most annoying, the most... yeah, he interviewed the most annoying, the most... not stupid, but the most inflaming type of people for his...
I called it. Look in there. He's already started the refining process. We have got to get inside and stop it. Let's see if this force field is stronger than the wolves.
that exists within the Manosphere.
Punch it with.
If you insist.
And the problem is interviewing these specific type of people is that Sneeko is a nuisance streamer.
This way.
Fresh and fit. And the nicest way to put this,
It had iridium powering it. Let's break open another.
they're just con
I would
artists.
absolutely love to.
Sweep out his minions with me. Then we'll bring the destruction.
Old Hunter, leave this place, or I will be forced to unleash.
And I mean, the Tate brothers have done that stuff too, with their whole what was it, Hustlers University kind of thing. I don't think that was the right thing.
Luck is on my side.
I forget specifically what it was called. And then there was also the fact that they did the whole cam girl site thing where they were using it as a business. And, well, oh wait, no, he didn't interview Victor. That was, no, he interviewed somebody else. But these guys, but a lot of the people who they interviewed, they're just the loudest part of the manosphere. And, you know, that's it, really. They're just the loudest part of the manosphere. I mean...
Feel it? The blood sword of victory? Come, Victor's power generator awaits. Ha! I've never absorbed this much iridium before. Well, here goes something.
The tiger is on the prowl.
Have you had enough caffeine, sweetheart?
Back to that force field! Come on!
I've got lightning under my skin. I can taste my teeth.
Ew.
We should start a restaurant.
No. But he interviewed the loudest, most obnoxious voices of the manosphere. And as per usual, they... these documentaries, these documentary makers, these reporters, they don't actually go and interview the people, the men and women in the manosphere, who are either A, actually trying to talk about things, or B, they're actually trying to make public law, they're trying to make changes to the law. And they won't, in a lot of cases, they won't interview these people. And they won't interview them because if they interview them and these people start talking...
Okay, this is droid one.
One more left to blow.
It tends to make the powers that be very uncomfortable. I mean, if you talk about how poorly men are treated in divorce court by divorce judges, you know, you get the, you get a lot of groups acting like that's not true. But, you know, the thing that these people don't talk about
Destroy the iridium inside.
Keep at this. I'm reserving a team for my vivisection lab.
Acha, the core is overheating. Let's wreck this thing for good.
is the incentive structure in how family courts work. And now, what incentive structure am I talking about? Well, first off, let's talk about Title 4, specifically Title 4D, where if you actually sit there and pay attention to how Title 4D is written, it's basically a giant grant machine. Where states are basically get grant money where basically, as long as states are mandating the collection and enforcement of child support,
Other than the extra dimensional come down, thinking about what Lichter said, I assumed he was using the iridium for machines, but he has a test subject.
and you know, that's basically what Title 4D is it's a grant from the federal government to make sure that child support is collected. And as long as there's child support orders being collected and paid, or at least is reported to the federal government that it is collected and paid, the federal government gives a grant to the state. That's basically what Title 4D is. And, you know, grant money has the rather infamous tendency to be abused. And I don't say that lightly. It's just if you start looking into people who have... Ooh, piece of candy. Candy! Yum, 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 yum. I sound so stupid. But back onto subject. Basically, Title 4D and that's Title 4D is basically the state gets a grant from the federal government to enforce child support collection and other things. Now then, if you recall, if you go back in time, states really didn't care. But as soon as you get the adoption of Title 4D and grant collection, suddenly you get the states doing everything within their power to all of a sudden enforce child support. Now, normally they'll have the mother wait until a father becomes delinquent and then go to the judge. But when some situations there either got bad and the mother couldn't collect, or in other cases the father lost their job and other stuff. Or I mean, you know, or you know, there could also be that the father doesn't have a standard normal job, as it were. Because I mean, there are guys who have tried to start a music career, and normally those don't go well, to be bluntly honest with everybody. I mean, I think Ed Sheeran is one of those cases where he actually succeeded. I could be wrong in that regard. But, you know, there's also the cases where the courts take stuff too far and, you know, the court doesn't care. I mean, I can recall the case of a man. He wasn't a pediatrician. I forget specifically what kind of doctor he was. But this man was a doctor, and he and his wife got a divorce. I don't remember. What's the right word here? Not mutual. What is the right word here? I forget. Like amenable, equitable, something like that. You know, there was no bad blood between them. It was just the relationship just wasn't working for either of them, and they just didn't want to be together anymore. I mean, that's the nicest way to say it. But you know, he was a doctor. You know, he made good money. And if you know how medical billing works, doctors get paid out by the insurance companies, and you know that takes a little bit of time because some insurance are really good, but mostly they have, you know, one day of the month where they just pay out, and that's pretty standard, from what I understand. That's pretty standard for the medical industry. And during the divorce proceedings in this case, the judge set the judge set a specific time frame for the judge set a specific time frame for my notes. nose itches. But the judge said a specific for child support to be paid, and the doctor asked and said, "Hey, can we do this instead? You know, this is when the insurance pays out my practice, and then, you know, I can then pay my employees, and then I can pay myself."
A friend of mine could have been saved. Worked for these damn bolts.
And, you know, it's a very reasonable ask. You know, let me get my monthly insurance payments. Let me pay my bill, you know, let me pay my bills. Let me pay my employees. Let me pay myself. And then I can pay child support. You know, it's an incredibly reasonable ask.
Welcome to quote-unquote Dr. Zed's.
And the judge, and did the judge be like, was the judge like, "Oh, okay, this is reasonable. You're not saying, no, I can't pay it. You're not saying, no, I'm not going to pay it. It's just, can we do things this way so that way I can pay on time?"
No takebacks. Unless you really wanna, I guess. You want this back, you just let me know. That'll look mighty fine on my shelf.
You know, it's a very basic, a very reasonable ask. What does the judge do in this case? The judge says, no, you're going to pay on this schedule because I said so. Mind you, this wasn't, you know, this wasn't,
Welcome anytime. Dr. Zed's Gore Emporium. I get blood on my hands, so you don't have to. You sanitize this, right? I'm just kidding.
yeah, I sanitized it by dragging my sack across it multiple times. It smells pretty sweaty and greasy. Enjoy.
You want this back? You just let me know. Next time you're bleeding out, remember the choices you made here.
Hold on, folks. Let me use the bathroom real quick, and I may need to step away for about, like, 30... Actually, I'd probably be gone close to an hour. If I have to go, folks, I have to go. So let me use the bathroom real quick, and we'll see. Alright, I better wrap up that story because I've got to go. But ultimately, what happened was is that the doctor had to shut down his practice because he couldn't make the payments, and it took him a year to find and in that year it took him to find another job. He owed basically over $100,000 in back pay. And he, when they went to court, he didn't make any excuses. He says, Your Honor, I had to shut down my practice. I haven't left the medical field. I'm just trying to find a job that fits what I need. And I don't think he actually ended up getting put in jail. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering this. And he eventually found that job, but he had to pay it. But he had to pay back over $100,000 in arrears for child support because it was set so high. And all of this, his whole situation could have been avoided when all the court had to do was abide by the insurance payout schedule, and the whole situation wouldn't have happened. The court refused to listen. And, was the doctor rude? No. All he said was, "Hey, can we do it like this so that way it doesn't become a burden, it doesn't become a problem on my practice." Did the court listen? No. The court gave him the middle finger and said, "On you, pal, not us. Make it work." And it's like, wait a minute, what? How is this reasonable? Most courts have leeway for leeway decisions, and the court absolutely refused to do it. When it was like, I can pay, just can we do it this way so I can pay without any problems? Tell me how that doesn't make make that make sense, folks. But in any case, I need to get going, folks. I've got a situation to deal with. So if you tuned in, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, bang that bell. I'm here every Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, unless I've got a special event to do. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see everybody next week.